Peasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Okay, in the previous video, right at the end there, I made a quick comment about a female in this town. There is a single young lady in this town. Now, these women are mostly Christian or Catholic. I haven't met anybody. I mean, Mexico is owned by the Catholic Church, so, you know, what can I say? But they are Christian and Catholic, and they kind of, you know, that kind of rubs a very raw edge with my vow to have nothing to do with the Christian and Catholic religion. But there is a young lady in this town who apparently she asked something of the gods, the Dios, and in response to that, I don't quite understand the full of the whole. I'm not being given the full story. Part of it is because I have to let this young lady talk to me about her take on what she asked. But apparently on that, it was arranged for me to come to this town. Upon my arrival and my being placed in the environment of this young lady, she then, I guess, made a request to further that idea of the santos of the town. Technically, that's got my butt in a ringer right now, because somehow, because of my extreme empathy, I caught a little piece of the energy pattern of her making the request to the santos. I made not exactly a direct promise, but I talked to Lucy, the santos of this area. La Señorita de los Lagos, La Señorita de San Juan de los Lagos is the official Catholic Bastilia Christian name of the santos, the saint of this town. The santos itself, in communication with me and all that, I ended up asking for the real name of it, and its real name is Lucy. Yes, that is kind of a female name, but it's not exactly. The entity itself, when it presents itself to me, generally presents itself as an entity without any sex, but it is an entity of life, a giver of life entity. So if you want to think of it as a woman, you're quite welcome to. There is no sex on the spiritual realm, so a man or a woman is capable of being an entity as far as reality is concerned. But this young lady made a request. I picked up on the energy of that request and made a comment that basically the spiritual realm is now trying to say I locked my butt into. I've argued against it. They've argued back and forth a little bit, and the end result is, okay, fine. This one particular young lady has the right to approach me. Okay? Whether or not it ever happens depends on her, because our last conversation was of her throwing some extreme insult into my face and telling me I was too stupid to know anything. I wasn't even smart enough to know anything about the computer that I built with my own two hands. So, yeah, she threw some extreme insult. Any woman that's ever been my girlfriend knows that you don't stay in my bed after you do that. I'll either walk away from you, or I'll ask you to walk away from me. I do not do abuse. I am not into abuse. I will not be abusive. Therefore, I do not want somebody who is abusive around me, especially in something that's supposed to be a partnership of l'amour, amante, love, partnership, relationships, friendships, you know, stuff like that. So, just to clarify that, there is a single female in all of Mexico that has my permission to get anywhere close to me and talk to me about a relationship. The rest of all of the women in this town don't have a chance as far as I'm concerned. It's not that I won't actually allow somebody, some woman to come forward and try and talk to me. It's just that because of the extreme desire to be deceptive and lie and cheat and steal, there's no reason for me to even consider a woman coming close to me right now and talking to me as having anything other than a desire to steal. This woman, this young lady, has been involved in such actions. Her parents were directly involved in such trying to deceive me and steal from me. So she is allowed, by the graces of the gods, damn near demanding it of me. So we have compromised, so the door is open for her. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. When you learn to actually start thinking, you can relate to the idea that, okay, I've got to change my position slightly. There's this possibility or that possibility or this thing or that thing. And you adjust. You are not locked into a single set idea. When you are a religious fanatic, yeah, you will scream and yell about how your preacher is correct and a person that talks to your God is wrong. A person that your God talks to is even more horrible because they might know the truth, and by golly gimbos, your preacher just said that is impossible. Nobody can know anything more than that preacher. That preacher has been to school for 20 years to learn exactly what to say. Yeah. Go look at how many of my feeds have preachers running like heck because I carry Revelations 2:17 and they don't know what to do about it. The fact that I can hear Christ anytime. So, the same thing happens in pretty much everything else, okay? Are you going to learn to think? Okay, well, take this and go apply it to your world. Does your advertising use a lot of sexy symbolism? Does your politician like to get up there with a cute girl on his arm and talk about how great he is and how wonderful he is? Did Bernie Sanders getting up there to be the, I'm an activist, I'm an outsider, I need the independent, I'm grassroots. The fact that he's been a politician for 40 years doesn't apply, folks. The fact that he has been a surviving politician, very deeply embedded into politics, never dawned on a single one of you, huh? FBI, CIA, they're called sleepers. They are people that are born, bred, raised, trained to be something on the inside, that at the right moment they step up and they say that they're an outsider. What did Donald Trump do? He got up there and started screaming about how he's an outsider, he's all for the middleman. I actually listened to people sit there and say, Donald Trump only borrowed $1 million once from his daddy, and all the rest of his money he made on his own. Did you ever go look at a financial statement? Did you ever go look at what the man was born into? Did you ever go look at how much money he's actually lost over the past 35, 40 years? Have you ever looked to see what his record is of win and losses? Did you ever bother to go get his financial statements and find that the man has very little actual money in his hands right now? He has some he has various properties that he claims to be very expensive pieces of land, and that is his value, and that is what he borrows against, and that is how he funds himself. But he has so much bankruptcy in his background right now, folks, that Donald Trump actually would be in quite a world of hurt if he had to pay off all of his debts. Okay? So, being born to a $1 billion inheritance, having lost 3/4 of that $1 billion, you know, $700 million down the drain, pissing it into the wind with his "I'm so great" advertising. Okay? So you're not fact-checking. You're not thinking. You are reacting to what's around you, and you are denying yourself the ability to use all of this stuff. The absolute always act as always the absolute. There's no other way to look at it. You are in a world of illusion. You believe illusion. You believe fantasy. You want to believe the fantasy. You don't want to deal with the fact that your world is a bloody mess, so you're more interested in watching NFL, Major League Baseball, NASCAR, hockey, basketball. I mean, have you ever stopped to consider just the fact that you always got a sports game around? From your baseball hasn't ended before football starts. Your football hasn't ended before basketball starts. Your basketball hasn't ended before either racing, NASCAR, or hockey starts. Okay? Why do they do that? What did the Romans do? They had the Colosseums. Okay? What do you have? You have the fast food industry, and you have cheap beer. It's oftentimes cheaper to buy a 6-pack of beer than it is to buy a 6-pack of Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So this is why I'm saying you need to start thinking about what actually transpires. Remember that box of Jell-O? Chocolate pudding, brand new flavor. 1920, Jell-O brand pudding, approximately around 1920, brought out chocolate flavored pudding by Jell-O brand. Okay, almost 100 years of being a brand new flavor, and you people still buy it. You buy the advertising. Okay, you buy the sales pitches. You don't fact check. You don't want to fact check. You want to believe that a 10-second meme is more important than sitting down and reading factual evidence. You want to believe that insulting somebody for being intelligent is more important than learning to be intelligent. Your schools are beating the snot out of intelligent children so they become dumb, stupid slaves to a corporate industry. You teach your children that they have to follow the rules and never step off the lines and never draw outside the lines. You literally hate anybody like me that's an artist, because we do creative stuff by being outside the lines and outside the boxes and outside the containers and all of that. But you're quite willing to insult us in order to get our stuff for free, or get it for next to nothing, or tell us that we shouldn't get paid because we created from nothing. Why should you get any money for it? Yeah. Entertain us, but by golly, don't ask us to pay for that entertainment. So, yeah, you don't want to think, and you need to think. You need to think about what's happening to your world. You need to think about what you have empowered and why you have empowered it. You need to think about how you can change what it all is. You need to think enough to understand that you have not left anything for your children. You have gone out of your way to use everything up in your life.